So today I'm going to be doing a review on this Western Digital SSD. I've had this guy for about 8 months now. This is the really tiny Western Digital My Passport 1TB SSD. I've had it for about 8 months and I got it because I needed a really small, portable, but affordable SSD for travel. So after getting this, I wasn't too sure about it because it is super tiny and it seemed like it could be kind of flimsy or break easily. And I've put this guy through quite some rigorous travel adventures through airports and just in the outermost pocket of my bag bouncing around. And I literally have Velcro on it because I keep it on my laptop all the time. It gets tossed around everywhere. And it still works super well. Further in the video, I will do some read and write speeds on this guy. I wasn't too sure at first because it was about $120 or $110 at Best Buy when I got it. And like I said, it's super small, but it's pretty damn durable. For my MacBook Air, it actually transfers files very, very quickly. I typically get speeds of around 600 to 700 megabytes per second with my photos, and then a little less for my GoPro videos if that is of concern to anyone. So one thing about this guy is that it's super, super tiny. Like, this is my hand and this is the drive, and that's super handy if you need to travel light. And you can get this guy all the way up to 2 terabytes. Correction, you can actually get this guy all the way up to 4 terabytes. And that is gonna cost you about 400 bucks. But right now on Amazon, you can get the 1 terabyte version for 135. And I'm confused because the other day I looked at these and it said $106. So definitely if you can find one for 106, that's an amazing deal for sure. So one thing that Western Digital claims is that you can drop this guy like off a desk onto the ground and it's totally fine. I can attest to that, but I've only dropped it like 2 or 3 times off of a table onto the ground and mine still works. I have like tossed it onto a table like very lightly, like very frequently, and it does still work totally fine. So I don't know how durable it is, but as far as durability goes, I would compare it to like an SD card. Obviously not as durable as an SD card just because SD cards are so damn light, but definitely one of the most durable. I mean, just because this thing's super light as well. Like when it falls, it has like almost no impact. And it's an SSD, so it's not gonna have those discs in the middle rattling around. So durability, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10 for sure. And I really wouldn't test that, especially if all of your valuable information's on there. This thing, I can't stress enough, is so tiny. So on that note, like what I did with my Mac, I wanted to save some money because when you buy more storage with Apple products, you pay like way more per gigabyte than you would if you just buy an external drive. And yeah, obviously it's gonna be faster transfer speeds and whatnot, but I prefer to just buy the cheapest, lowest level memory Mac computer for like 1,000 or like 800 bucks, and then maybe in 2 years when it's already out of date, just upgrade my computer and then everything's on my drive. So with that being said, I've used this for the past 8 months and kept all my files on it. Like when I'm working in Lightroom, all my photos are on this. So I've been constantly reading it. It's not just like my backup drive, it's like everything I use on my computer is on this thing. And it hasn't slowed me down at all. I frequently take photos. I have like 800 gigabytes of photos and GoPro video on here for my travels and all sorts of things. And yeah, so I edit off of this thing. I edit in Premiere off of this thing. I edit in Photoshop off of this thing and Lightroom. And I import my photos from my camera directly onto this. So I have like a hub, it goes onto my computer, and it doesn't even stay there, it just goes directly from the SD card onto this guy. So for the past 8 months, this thing has been constantly reading, writing. And yeah, I've noticed 0 problems with it so far. So I thought it was $135, but I actually did find the Amazon post that has this exact guy, the 1 terabyte version for 110 bucks. So just the fact that you can get this thing for pretty much $100, I think makes it one of the best SSDs out there. Price, durability, and just ease of use altogether. Alright, so now I'm just gonna plug this puppy in right here, just with the little, it's a USB-C connection, comes with a really thick cable, and I'm just gonna plug her into my Mac here. Now I have my drive hooked up to my MacBook Air. Since I have all of my like sensitive files on this Western Digital My Passport SSD, I can't really do a crystal disk mark test because it would just screw all that up. So what I'm gonna do is just drag and drop this file right here, which is 17.71 gigabytes. And right when I let go of it, I'm gonna start the timer right here. So dragging it over, and 3, 2, 1. Okay. So we're gonna see how long that takes to transfer, and then we're gonna do some mathematics to figure out exactly how fast this thing can transfer stuff. In that folder I have mostly raw photos from my camera as well as some pretty beefy GoPro videos. So that's the files that I always transfer, which is just video and raw photos from my camera. Okay, so it took 32 seconds to transfer the files, and the file size was 17.71 gigabytes, so that comes out to about 0.5534 gigabytes per second, which is okay. Honestly, plenty fast for me. So I guess that's how fast you could expect it to go after using it consistently for like 8 months. But right out of the box, it does say it's supposed to go at about a gigabyte per second. With some other testers I've been watching on YouTube, right out of the box, it'll do like 800. But crystal disk mark and amorphous disk test, or whatever it's called, those tests, they're great, but until you really do it with like actual raw photos from your camera, you don't really know how fast it's going to transfer files. And obviously file types do change how fast things can be transferred. So if you do get one of these guys, I would expect to see read-write speeds from anywhere between 800 to 500 megabytes a second. Somewhere around 6 is probably where you'll be at if you're doing photography stuff. And yeah, you really cannot expect to see a gigabyte per second transfer speeds. What a lot of people really don't understand is that you really don't need a gigabyte per second, at least when you're doing like photography stuff and photo import. Maybe with like videography and like super heavy, like dense video files, you might want something faster, but I've been using this guy for 8 months as my hard drive for my computer. So I don't store any photos on my computer. I just store everything on the hard drive. I work in Premiere from this thing. I work in Lightroom from this thing. And I've had no problems at all. And with the M1 Max, with this combined, everything exports unbelievably quickly. And yeah. So overall, I think for $110 for a 1 terabyte SSD that is small, compact, durable, and reliable after 8 months, totally. I think it's a really good SSD to go for. And especially if you're traveling, super lightweight. So thank you for watching. I'm gonna stop rambling, and I'll see you in the next review.